Our topic of this documentary on human rights is human trafficking in Southeast Asia.
Human rights are moral principles or norms that tell the standards of human behavior, and they are protected as natural and legal rights in international law. The United Nations took action and made an official list of human rights after the horrors that occurred in World War II. The countries finally agreed on 30 human rights to be recognized universally with the supervision of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Human trafficking is when people, mostly women and young girls, are tricked into captivity, where they are seen as possessions and sold into different types of forced labor. It has been happening since the 1400s, where victims are put to work as slaves.
These illegal acts mostly happen to the homeless, women, or children who are vulnerable to coercion, and the victims are usually tricked and then exploited for profit by the people who traffic and by the people who buy them to force them into labor against their will or without their full knowledge of the actual work they would be doing.
Gangs in Southeast Asia use multiple different methods to coerce women into the trade. One way is that they made their victims believe they would have to work and/or opportunities unrelated to the multitude of ways people are exploited.
There are a couple of ways to stop human trafficking. For instance, report it to the authorities. Do it if you see anyone who is subjected to forced labor, or if an area is highly suspicious to be a hub for illegal activities that might include human trafficking. Or just simply help and comfort those who were once victims.
Some people think that human trafficking is not bad because they might see it as a method for their own pleasure or profit from the services and selling of the people they traffic.
Female Thai workers who have engaged in prostitution find it difficult to go back to their villages because their traditional values say good women must be virgins before marriage, which means women who have been in the industry usually face criticism and shame from their community and might be unable to marry. But seeing as returning women are becoming more common in villages in Thailand, there appears to be less negative attitudes towards them.
Governments around the world use the 3P paradigm as framework to combat human trafficking. The 3Ps stand for prosecution, protection, and prevention. The fourth P, standing for partnership, also tends to complement the three others. They reinforce and complement each other when preventing human trafficking.
Groups and organizations outside of the governments of Southeast Asian countries are also taking action to help the governments. For instance, Freeland, a Bangkok-based non-government group that fights wildlife trafficking and human slavery, worked with Thai police to identify key figures in the smuggling networks who were then rounded up and put on trial.